Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Endeavour and watched the stars. She had been traveling through space for 3 months now. Her ship was not large. It carried only 47 people. They were explorers and scientists, not soldiers. Their job was to find new worlds and meet new friends among the stars. The year was 2347. Humans had been traveling to other star systems for 30 years. They had built colonies on distant planets. They had sent ships like the Endeavour to explore even further into space. Sarah believed that somewhere out there they would find other intelligent life. She hoped they would be peaceful. "Captain," said Dr. Yuki Tanaka from her station. She was the science officer, always excited about new discoveries. "I'm picking up something strange." Sarah walked over to look at her screen. "What is it?" "6 ships," Yuki said. Her voice was shaking a little. "They're not human. They're not in our database. Captain, I think we found aliens." The bridge went quiet. Everyone stopped what they were doing. This was the moment they had all dreamed about. First contact with another species. Commander James Holbrook stood up from his chair. Everyone called him Iron because he never showed fear. He had been a soldier before joining the Endeavour. "Captain, we should raise shields and power up weapons." "Just in case." Sarah shook her head. "No, we came here in peace. We'll show them we're peaceful." She took a deep breath. "Open all communication channels. Send them mathematical sequences. Send them the universal peace symbol." A young officer named Marcus Webb sat at the weapons station. He was only 23 years old. This was his first mission in deep space. "Captain, are you sure? We don't know anything about them." "That's exactly why we need to be careful," Sarah said. "If we point weapons at them, they might think we're dangerous." "Send the messages." The Endeavour sent signals on every frequency they had. Pictures of Earth. Mathematical formulas that any intelligent species would understand. A simple message: "We come in peace." For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then the alien ships moved closer. They were strange-looking, with sharp angles and dark metal. They looked like predators. "They're responding," Yuki said, but her smile faded quickly.
"Captain, they're not sending peaceful signals back."
"Their weapons are powering up." Holbrook grabbed Sarah's arm. "Captain, let me raise the shields, please." Sarah felt her heart racing. She remembered another day 5 years ago on Mars Colony. She had been a diplomat there. A group of angry colonists had threatened violence. Sarah had believed they would talk things out peacefully. She had ordered the security forces to stand down. 3 people had died before help arrived. Sarah had blamed herself every day since then. But this was different, she told herself. These were aliens. Maybe they were just being careful like Holbrook wanted to be. "Send more messages," Sarah ordered. "Show them pictures of human families. Children playing. Animals on Earth. Show them we're alive. We feel. We love." The crew worked quickly. They sent hundreds of images. A mother holding her baby. Old people sitting together, happy. Dogs running in parks. Everything that showed humans were peaceful creatures who valued life. The alien ships moved even closer. Now they were only 50,000 kilometers away. In space, that was very close. Yuki was looking at her instruments with wide eyes. "Captain, their weapons are fully charged now. All 6 ships are targeting us." "They're just being cautious," Sarah said, but her voice didn't sound confident anymore. "Captain." Holbrook's voice was hard now. "I'm raising shields. That's an order I'm giving myself." "Belay that order," Sarah said. "If we raise shields, they'll think we're hostile." "Stand down, Commander." Holbrook stared at her. For a moment, she thought he might disobey, but he sat back down. His hands were in fists. "Captain Chen," came a voice from communications. "I'm getting something from them." I think it's laughter. They're laughing at us." Sarah's blood ran cold. "No," she thought. "Please no." The alien ships opened fire. Plasma bolts, bright green and burning hot, slammed into the Endeavour. The ship had no shields up. The first shots hit the hull directly. Explosions ripped through 3 sections of the ship. The lights went out, then came back on red. Alarms screamed. People screamed too. "Shields up! Shields up!" Holbrook was yelling. But it was too late for some. "Damage report!" Sarah shouted. She held onto her chair as the ship shook from more hits. 12 dead, someone reported. Sarah couldn't tell who. There was too much noise. Sections 4, 7, and 9 are destroyed. Emergency bulkheads are sealing. 12 people. 12 human beings who had families and dreams. Gone in seconds because Sarah had wanted to be peaceful. Marcus Webb turned around from his station. He was crying. "Captain, do I return fire?" Sarah couldn't speak. Her mind was back on Mars. She saw the faces of the 3 people who had died there. Now 12 more faces joined them. All because she had failed. Again. Captain. Holbrook grabbed her shoulders and shook her. Sarah, we need orders. But Sarah just stared at the screen showing the alien ships. They were moving closer, probably preparing to fire again. To finish the job, Holbrook pushed her aside. Not roughly, but firmly. He jumped into the captain's chair. Helm, bring us about. Emergency speed. Get us behind that debris field. He pointed at the remains of an old space station nearby. Webb, return fire. All weapons. The Endeavour turned hard. The engines roared. Small missiles shot out at the alien ships, but they didn't do much damage. The aliens were too strong. They're following us, Yuki reported. She was pale and shaking. 6 ships in pursuit, Sarah found her voice. How many injured? 23, came the answer. Medical bay is overwhelmed. The ship shook again. Another hit on the rear shields, which were now barely holding. Holbrook looked at Sarah. His eyes were hard, but not unkind. Captain, I need you here. Our people need you. Whatever you're thinking about, whatever happened before, it doesn't matter now. We're in a fight for our lives. Sarah nodded slowly. The fog in her mind was clearing, but it was being replaced by something cold. The aliens had laughed at their peace offerings. They had killed 12 people without warning. Without mercy. Status of weapons? Sarah asked. Missiles at 60%, Webb reported. Energy weapons online. But Captain, they're barely scratching their armor. The Endeavour raced through the debris field. Old broken pieces of the space station flew past the windows. One piece hit their hull, but it was small. We can't fight them, Holbrook said quietly to Sarah. We're a diplomatic ship. They're warships. We need to run. How long until we can jump to faster than light? Sarah asked. Engines took damage. 6 hours, the helmsman said. We need to survive 6 hours. Sarah looked at the tactical display. The 6 alien ships were spreading out, trying to surround them. They were hunters, and they were good at it. She made a decision. Keep running. Use the debris as cover. Make them chase us. Buy us time. Time for what? Holbrook asked. Time to think, Sarah said. Time to find a way to survive. As the Endeavour ran through the wreckage of the old station, Sarah felt something changing inside her. She had come to space hoping to make friends. She had believed the universe would be kind to those who were kind. She had been wrong. The aliens wanted prey. They wanted an easy kill. They looked at humans and saw weakness. Sarah touched the communication panel and opened a channel to the entire ship. Her voice was broadcast to all 47 crew members, including those injured in medical bay. This is Captain Chen, she said. You all know what happened. We offered peace. They gave us death. 12 of our friends are gone. But we're not dead yet. We're going to survive this, whatever it takes. Chen out. She closed the channel and looked at Holbrook. Get me Lieutenant Volkov from engineering, Sarah said. I need to know everything about this ship. Every weapon, every system, everything. Holbrook raised an eyebrow. Why? Because we're not running for 6 hours, Sarah said. Her voice was cold now, hard. We're going to fight back, and we're going to make them regret laughing at us. 2 hours had passed since the attack. The Endeavour was hiding behind a large piece of the destroyed space station. The alien ships were searching for them, moving slowly through the debris field, like sharks looking for wounded prey. Sarah Chen walked through the medical bay. It was crowded and smelled like burned metal and blood. The ship's doctor and 3 nurses were working as fast as they could. People lay on beds, some quiet, some moaning in pain. She stopped at one bed. A young man named Garcia lay there. He was 19 years old. He had joined the crew 6 months ago, fresh out of training. Now his legs were gone, destroyed in the first attack. He would live, but his life would never be the same. Garcia saw her and tried to smile. Did we win, Captain? Sarah felt something break inside her chest. Not yet. But we will. Good, Garcia said. Then the medicine took him and he fell asleep. Sarah left the medical bay quickly. She couldn't let the crew see her cry. She made it to her quarters and locked the door. Then she sat on her bed and put her face in her hands. 12 dead, 23 injured, all because she had been stupid. She had thought peace was always the answer. She had thought showing weakness would make them kind. The door chimed. Sarah wiped her eyes. Come in. Commander Holbrook entered. He looked tired. There was blood on his uniform from helping injured crew members. He sat down next to her without asking permission. You did everything right, he said. 12 people are dead, Sarah replied. 12 people are dead because those aliens are killers, Holbrook said. His voice was hard. Not because you tried to save lives. Sarah, you gave peace a chance. That's what we're supposed to do. But now peace is over. Those things out there ended it when they fired. Now we do what we have to do. We survive. How? Sarah asked. We can't fight 6 warships. We're going to die out here. Maybe, Holbrook said, but I'd rather die fighting than running. Wouldn't you? Before Sarah could answer, her communicator beeped. It was Lieutenant Anna Volkov from Engineering. Her voice was urgent. Captain, I need to see you right away. Senior staff only. It's about the ship. Sarah and Holbrook went to the engineering section. The lights were dim here because power was being conserved. Volkov met them outside a sealed door. She was a short woman with gray hair, even though she was only 40. Everyone said working in engineering aged you fast. What is it? Sarah asked. Volkov looked around to make sure no one else was listening. I need to show you something. Something classified. Something only 4 people on this ship knew about. She used her security code to open the sealed door. Inside was a room Sarah had never seen before. It was large, maybe 30 meters long, and in the center was a massive weapon. It looked like a giant tube as thick as a person and as long as a train car. It was connected to huge cables that ran into the walls. Screens showed numbers and diagrams Sarah didn't understand. What is that? Holbrook asked. That, Volkov said, is why they really sent a diplomatic ship to the edge of explored space. This is the Mankey 7 electromagnetic mass accelerator. We call it Thor's hammer. Sarah walked closer to the weapon. A railgun? Not just any railgun, Volkov said. This is the most powerful weapon humanity has ever built. It fires a tungsten rod weighing 2,000 kilograms at 5% of light speed. Holbrook whistled. That's insane. The kinetic energy alone would be equal to a 4,000 megaton nuclear bomb, Volkov finished. Give or take. We've never actually fired it. It was installed after the Mars incident. Sarah felt cold. They put a weapon of mass destruction on a diplomatic ship? They put it on your ship, Volkov corrected. Because of Mars. Because the government decided that hoping for peace wasn't enough. We needed a way to fight back if peace failed. Why didn't anyone tell me? Sarah asked. Because you weren't supposed to use it, Volkov said. The orders were clear. This weapon was only to be fired if humanity itself was in danger. If we found a hostile species that threatened Earth, not for 1 ship, not for 47 lives, then why are you showing us? Holbrook asked. Volkov looked at them both. Because those aliens out there killed 12 of my friends. Because they're going to kill the rest of us in a few hours. And because I don't care about orders anymore. I care about survival. Sarah studied the weapon. What's the catch? There's always a catch with experimental weapons. Smart, Volkov said. The catch is power. Firing this thing requires every single bit of energy the ship can produce. We have to shut down engines, shields, life support, everything. All power goes to the charging coils. It takes 8 minutes to charge. During those 8 minutes, we're completely defenseless, dead in space. If they fire on us, we die. And after we fire? Sarah asked. 4 minutes to recharge the capacitors and restart systems. So 12 minutes total where we're helpless. Holbrook shook his head. That's a suicide weapon. If we miss or if there are still enemies left after we shoot, we're dead. Yes, Volkov agreed. But if we hit, if we take out enough of them, maybe the rest will run. Maybe we survive. Sarah looked at the weapon for a long time. She thought about Garcia with no legs. About 12 bodies floating in space. About 35 crew members still alive and counting on her. Can we target all 6 ships? She asked. No, Volkov said. It fires 1 shot. 1 target, but she pulled up a diagram on a screen. The projectile doesn't explode. It doesn't need to. The kinetic impact is so massive that it creates a shockwave. If we hit the right ship at the right angle, the shockwave might damage the ships near it. Might, Sarah repeated. It's never been tested in real combat. Volkov reminded her. We don't know exactly what will happen. Far away on the lead alien ship, war leader Kreshenak was laughing. He was large for his species, with dark scales and 3 eyes. He had been hunting and killing for 40 years. He was very good at it. The humans hide like prey animals, he said to his officers. They send messages of peace, but they cannot fight. This will be easy. One of his officers, a younger one named Vrelik, looked at the battle data. War leader, they did fire missiles at us. Small ones, but they have weapons, Kreshnak hissed, which was how his species laughed. Children's toys. Did you see how they kept their shields down? How they waited to shoot until after we hurt them? They are weak. Soft. This whole species must be like this. The humans have been in space for 30 years, Frelick said carefully. Perhaps we should learn more about them before we... Before we what? Kreshnak turned on him. Before we take their ship as a prize? Before we show the galaxy that a new species has entered space and we were the ones to greet them? You are young, Frelick. You think too much. In war you act. Yes, war leader, Frelick said, but he looked at the data again. Something felt wrong. The human ship was running, yes, but it was running in a strange pattern. Not randomly. It was looking for something. All ships, Kreshnak ordered. Tighten the search pattern. I want that human ship found in 1 hour. Then we finish this. Back on the Endeavor, Sarah sat in her quarters alone. Holbrook had given her time to think. She had a choice to make. She could run, try to survive for 6 hours until the engines could jump to faster than light speed. The aliens might catch them before then. Probably would catch them. Everyone would die, or she could fight. Use the weapon that had been hidden on her ship. Risk everything on one shot. If she missed, everyone would die. If the weapon failed, everyone would die. If there were still enemies left after the shot, everyone would die. She thought about Garcia, about the 12 dead, about how the aliens had laughed at human messages of peace. She thought about Earth, about humanity. What would happen if these aliens reached Earth and thought all humans were weak? How many would die then? Sarah stood up. She opened her communicator. All senior staff to the bridge now. 5 minutes later, they were all there. Holbrook, Volkov, Dr. Tanaka, and Marcus Webb. They looked at her waiting. I've made a decision, Sarah said. We're going to use Thor's hammer, Dr. Tanaka gasped. Captain, that's a weapon of mass destruction. So are they, Sarah replied. They killed our people without warning, without mercy. If we run, they'll catch us. If we surrender, they'll probably kill us anyway. We have one chance to survive. We take it. We'll need perfect conditions, Volkov said. We need to be close enough for a good shot, but far enough that the charge-up time doesn't let them destroy us first. How close? Sarah asked. 300,000 kilometers, maybe 350 at most. Holbrook pulled up a star map. There's a tight section in the debris field ahead. If we lead them there, they'll have to bunch up to follow us. That puts them close together. Better chance the shockwave hits multiple ships, Sarah nodded. Then that's where we make our stand. Marcus, you'll be on targeting. This has to be perfect. Webb's hands shook. Captain, I've never fired anything like this. None of us have, Sarah said. But you're the best we've got. I trust you, she looked at each of them. We have one shot. One chance. If this works, we go home. If it doesn't, well, at least we went down fighting. When do we do this? Holbrook asked. Sarah checked the chronometer. We lead them to the tight section in 2 hours. That gives us time to prepare, to say goodbyes if anyone wants to. Then we charge the weapon and we fire. And if we miss? Dr. Tanaka asked quietly. Then we die, Sarah said simply. But we die as humans, fighting, not as prey. The Endeavor moved slowly through the debris field. Pieces of the old destroyed station floated past like metal ghosts. Some were as small as a person. Others were as big as houses. The ship carefully navigated between them, heading toward the tight section Holbrook had identified. Behind them, the 6 alien ships followed, hunting. In the railgun chamber, Lieutenant Volkov and her team worked quickly. The weapon had never been fired before. They had to make sure everything was perfect. One mistake and the whole ship might explode. Check the magnetic coils again, Volkov ordered. Every single one. I don't care if it takes time. We only get one shot at this. A young engineer named Patterson was lying under the weapon, scanning the components. Coils 1 through 20 are green. Moving to 21 through 40. Volkov looked at the tungsten rod that would be fired. It was 2,000 kilograms of dense metal, shaped like a long dart. It sat in the firing chamber, waiting. She touched it gently, almost like a prayer. Don't let us down, she whispered to the weapon. On the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen sat in her chair and watched the tactical display. The alien ships were getting closer. They had figured out where the Endeavor was going. They were moving to cut off escape routes. They're smart, Holbrook said. They know we're running out of room. Good, Sarah replied. Let them think they've trapped us. Dr. Tanaka was at her station scanning the alien ships. Captain, I've identified which one is the flagship. It's the large one in the center of their formation. It's giving orders to the others. That's our target, Sarah said. She pressed the communicator. Volkov, did you hear that? Yes, Captain. Volkov's voice came back. Flagship it is. The shockwave should hit the ships near it if we're lucky. How's the weapon? Almost ready. Give us 30 more minutes. Sarah looked at the chronometer. They would reach the tight section in 45 minutes. Perfect timing if nothing went wrong. Marcus Webb sat at the weapons station. His hands were shaking. He kept them in his lap so no one would see. He was 23 years old. He had trained for years to be here. But training was different from reality. Training didn't have real stakes. Real deaths. Holbrook came over and sat next to him. You nervous? Terrified, Webb admitted. Good, Holbrook said. Fear keeps you sharp. Makes you careful. I've been in combat 20 times. I was scared every single time. What if I miss? Webb asked quietly. Then you miss, Holbrook said. And we all die together. But Webb, I've watched you train. I've seen your scores. You don't miss. Your hands are steady when it counts. Trust yourself. Webb nodded but didn't say anything. In the medical bay, the injured crew members knew something was happening. The ship had changed course. The engine sounds were different. Something was coming. Garcia, the young man who had lost his legs, asked a nurse what was happening. She didn't know, so she told him the truth. I think we're going to fight. Good, Garcia said. His voice was weak but angry. Make them pay for what they did. Throughout the ship, crew members prepared in their own ways. Some wrote messages to families back on Earth, knowing they might never send them. Some prayed to whatever gods they believed in. Some just sat quietly thinking about their lives. In the mess hall, a cook named Williams made coffee for anyone who wanted it. Hot, strong coffee. He figured if they were going to die, they might as well be awake for it. Petty Officer David Rodriguez stood in the railgun chamber with Volkov. Everyone called him Bull because he was big and strong. He had been in the military for 15 years before joining the Endeavor. He had seen war. He knew what was coming. Lieutenant, he said to Volkov, if this thing works, it's going to be loud. Really loud. The whole ship will feel it. I know, Volkov said, and if it doesn't work, then it won't matter how loud it is, Volkov replied. We'll be dead in seconds. Rodriguez laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. Fair point. He looked at the firing controls. They were simple. One button. Press it and the weapon fires. Don't press it and nothing happens. Humans had traveled to the stars, built amazing technology, explored other worlds, and in the end, violence came down to pressing a button. Who fires it? Rodriguez asked. Who presses the button? You do, Volkov said. You're the senior weapons specialist on this ship. Rodriguez nodded slowly. Okay, I can do that. Rodriguez, Volkov said, when you fire, the recoil is going to be massive. The whole ship will shake. Hold on to something. Got it, Rodriguez said. Then he did something unexpected. He knelt down and started praying quietly in Spanish. Volkov didn't interrupt him. On the alien flagship, war leader Kreshnak was pleased. The humans were running into a trap. The tight section of the debris field would slow them down. There would be no escape. 15 minutes until we have them, his tactical officer reported. Excellent, Kreshnak said. Prepare boarding parties. I want prisoners. I want to see what these humans look like up close before we kill them. Sub-Commander Vrelik was at his own station, studying the human ship's data. Something was bothering him. The ship was old, yes. A diplomatic vessel, not a warship. But there was something in the power readings that didn't make sense. He pulled up the scans from the first attack. The human ship had taken heavy damage, but according to the energy signatures, there was a large section of the ship that hadn't been hit. A section that was shielded more heavily than the rest. A section that showed massive power conduits. Vrelik's three eyes widened. That wasn't normal for a diplomatic ship. He started running calculations. War leader, he said. I think there's something. Not now, Kreshnak snapped. We are in attack formation. Whatever questions you have can wait, Vrelik wanted to argue. But he was young and Kreshnak was the war leader. He closed his mouth and kept studying the data. Maybe he was wrong. Maybe it was nothing. But deep in his gut, he didn't think so. Aboard the Endeavor, the ship entered the tight section of the debris field. Large pieces of the destroyed station surrounded them on all sides. The path forward was narrow, maybe only 2 kilometers wide. Perfect, all stop, Sarah ordered. Hold position here. The ship stopped moving. It sat in space, waiting. They're coming through, Holbrook reported. All 6 ships entering the debris field. They're slowing down to navigate the obstacles. Distance? Sarah asked. 340,000 kilometers, Holbrook said. They'll be in optimal range in 3 minutes. Sarah opened the shipwide communication channel. When she spoke, every person on the Endeavour heard her voice. This is Captain Chen. You all know what we're about to do.
You all know the risks.
But you also know what those aliens did to us. They killed our friends. They laughed at our offers of peace. They thought we were weak. They thought we were prey. She paused, then continued. They were wrong. We are humans. We survived ice ages and plagues. We survived wars and disasters. We climbed out of caves and reached for the stars. We don't give up. We don't surrender. And we sure as hell don't go quietly. Throughout the ship, people stopped what they were doing and listened. In 2 minutes, we're going to fire a weapon that has never been fired before. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. But either way, we're going to show those aliens what happens when you attack humans. We're going to show them that we bite back. Sarah's voice grew harder. They wanted prey. They found humans instead. Prepare Thor's hammer. The crew erupted in cheers. Not happy cheers, but battle cries. The sound of people who had nothing left to lose. In the railgun chamber, Volkov activated the charging sequence. Lights dimmed throughout the ship. Every system started redirecting power to the weapon. The magnetic coils began to hum. Quietly at first, then louder. The sound grew and grew until it filled the entire chamber. Energy crackled along the weapon's length like blue lightning. On the bridge, every screen showed the same thing, charging. The percentage climbed slowly. 5%, 10%, 15%. All power to the weapon, Volkov reported. Engines offline. Shields offline. Life support on backup. We're committed now, Captain. Distance to targets? Sarah asked. 320,000 kilometers, Holbrook said. They're still coming. They don't know what we're doing. Marcus Webb stared at his targeting screen. He had locked onto the alien flagship. The computer was tracking it, adjusting for its movement. He watched the numbers update constantly. Speed, trajectory, distance. All of it mattered. The weapon continued charging. 30%, 40%, 50%. Captain, Dr. Tanaka said, her voice worried. They're scanning us. High-intensity scans. They might figure out what we're doing. How long until full charge? Sarah asked. 3 minutes, Volkov replied. Distance now. 290,000 kilometers, Holbrook said. They're moving faster. I think they know something's wrong. Sarah gripped the arms of her chair. 3 minutes. 180 seconds. An eternity when death was approaching, the weapon charged higher. 60%, 70%. The humming sound grew louder. The deck plates vibrated. Some crew members had to hold onto walls to stay standing. Rodriguez stood at the firing controls in the railgun chamber. His finger hovered over the button, not touching it yet. Just ready. Volkov looked at him. When I give the word, you press that button. No hesitation. Understood? Yes, ma'am, Rodriguez said. 80%. 90%. On the alien flagship, Vrelick finally figured it out. The railgun fired. The sound was beyond deafening. It was a physical force that slammed through the ship. Every crew member felt it in their bones. The deck plates buckled. Light fixtures shattered. Emergency lights came on as the main lights died. In the railgun chamber, Rodriguez was thrown backward. He hit the wall hard and fell. Volkov grabbed onto a support beam and held on as the entire room shook like an earthquake. The 2,000-kilogram tungsten rod shot out of the barrel at 5% of the speed of light. The acceleration was so massive that the projectile left a trail of superheated air molecules glowing blue-white in its wake. On the bridge, Captain Sarah Chen was knocked out of her chair. She hit the floor and tasted blood. Around her, the crew was sprawled everywhere. Screens had cracked. Sparks flew from damaged consoles. Damage report, she shouted, climbing back into her seat. Hull stress at critical levels, someone reported. We're holding together, but just barely. 3 dead in engineering, another voice said. The recoil killed them. 3 more deaths. Sarah pushed the guilt aside. There would be time for that later. If there was a later. Time to impact, she asked. Holbrook pulled himself up, blood running from a cut on his forehead. 2.2 seconds. The projectile crossed the distance faster than human eyes could track. On the targeting screen, it was just a dot moving impossibly fast toward the alien flagship. Aboard Kreshnak's ship, alarms were screaming. Sensors had detected the projectile, but too late. There was no time to dodge. No time to raise shields higher. No time to do anything but watch death coming. Krishnak saw it on his screen for just a fraction of a second. A small object moving at a speed that didn't seem possible. Then it hit. The tungsten rod struck the flagship dead center. The kinetic energy released was equal to 4,500 megatons. The ship didn't explode in the traditional sense. It simply stopped existing. The impact converted the flagship's mass and the projectile into plasma instantly. The temperature at the impact point was hotter than the surface of a sun. Metal, electronics, bodies, everything vaporized in a microsecond. The explosion was visible across the entire star system. A new sun born for just a moment, bright and terrible. The shockwave expanded outward at thousands of kilometers per second. The two alien ships closest to the flagship were caught in it. Their shields couldn't stop it. The wave of superheated plasma and radiation tore through them like tissue paper. One ship simply broke apart, its hull shattering into a million pieces. The other spun out of control. Half its structure melted away, atmosphere venting into space. The remaining 3 alien ships were further away. They survived, but just barely. Their shields overloaded. Systems failed. Crew members were thrown around as the shockwave hit them. On the Endeavour, the crew watched in stunned silence. Where there had been 6 alien ships, there were now only 3. And those 3 were damaged, limping, barely functional. "My God," Dr. Tanaka whispered. "We did that. We actually did that." Sarah stared at the screen. The flagship was just gone. Thousands of aliens had been alive one moment, then converted to atoms the next. She felt sick, but she pushed the feeling down. "Volkov, how long until systems are back online?" she asked. 3 minutes for engines." Volkov's voice came back, shaky but professional. 5 minutes for weapons and shields." Sarah opened a communication channel. She set it to broadcast on all alien frequencies. When she spoke, her voice was cold. "Attention, alien vessels. You fired on humans. We gave you peace. You chose war. Leave this system immediately, or the next shot is for all of you." For a long moment, there was no response. Sarah wondered if they would attack anyway, if they would try to finish what they started. Then, on the tactical display, the 3 surviving alien ships turned around. Their engines flared. They started running. "They're retreating," Holbrook said. He sounded like he couldn't believe it. "They're actually running away." The alien ships accelerated as fast as their damaged engines would allow. Within 5 minutes, they were gone, jumped to faster than light speed, and disappeared. The bridge was silent. Nobody knew what to say. They had won. They had survived. But the cost was written in the bodies of their dead friends. Sarah stood up slowly. "All stations, damage report. I want to know if we can make it home." The reports came in over the next hour. The Endeavour was badly damaged but spaceworthy. They had lost 15 crew members total. 12 in the first attack, 3 from the railgun's recoil. 23 were injured, some critically, but 32 people were still alive. 32 people who would go home. In the medical bay, Garcia heard the news. They had won. The aliens were gone. He closed his eyes and cried, not knowing if the tears were from relief or grief. In the railgun chamber, Rodriguez helped Volkov check the weapon. It had survived the firing, barely. The barrel was warped. The magnetic coils were burned out. Thor's hammer would never fire again. "One shot," Rodriguez said. "That's all we got." "That's all we needed," Volkov replied. Far away on one of the surviving alien ships, Sub-Commander Vrelik sat in the command chair. War leader Kreshnak was dead, along with most of the senior officers. Vrelik was in command now, not because he wanted to be, but because he was the highest-ranking officer still alive. He looked at the sensor logs, replaying the attack over and over. The humans had fired a simple kinetic weapon. No exotic energy, no strange technology, just mass moving very, very fast. It was terrifying in its simplicity. "Send a message to the hegemony," Vrelik ordered. "Tell them what happened here. Tell them we attacked a human ship without cause. Tell them the humans responded with a weapon we've never seen before. Tell them," he paused. "Tell them we were wrong. The humans are not weak. They're not prey. What are they?" his communications officer asked. Vrelik looked at the dissipating plasma cloud that had been their flagship. "Something we should never have attacked. On the Endeavor, Sarah stood in the observation deck looking out at the stars. The debris field was behind them now. They were heading home at slower than light speed until the engines could be fully repaired for the jump. Holbrook came to stand beside her. His head was bandaged. "We'll reach Earth in 3 weeks at this speed." "I know," Sarah said. "The crew wants to have a memorial service." "For the dead?" "They want you to speak," Sarah nodded. She would speak. She would remember every name. "Every face. Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked. Holbrook thought about it for a long time. "I don't know if there was a right thing. There was only the necessary thing. They attacked us. We defended ourselves. That's war." "I wanted peace," Sarah said. "I really believed we could make friends out there." "Maybe we still can," Holbrook said. "But now everyone knows that humans can be peaceful or they can be dangerous. The choice is theirs." Sarah looked at her reflection in the window. She looked older than she had 3 days ago. Harder. "I killed thousands of them. Maybe tens of thousands. I don't even know how many crew members were on that flagship." "They killed 15 of us first," Holbrook reminded her. "They laughed at our peace offerings. They hunted us like animals. You saved 32 human lives today." "At the cost of how many alien lives?" "At the cost of as many as it took," Holbrook said firmly. "Sarah, you did what you had to do. Now you live with it." "We all do." He left her alone with her thoughts. The memorial service was held 2 days later. The crew gathered in the cargo bay, the only space large enough for everyone. Sarah spoke about each person who had died. She told their stories, where they came from, what they loved, what they had dreamed of doing. When she finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Marcus Webb, the young weapons officer who had locked the targeting, looked at his hands. They had been shaking before the battle. Now they were steady. He wondered if that was a good thing or a bad thing. Dr. Tanaka stood next to him. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I locked the target," Webb said quietly. "I made sure the weapon hit exactly where it needed to. I'm responsible for thousands of deaths." "You're responsible for 32 lives saved," Tanaka corrected. "Don't forget that." But Webb wasn't sure he could believe it. Not yet. In her quarters, Lieutenant Volkov looked at a picture of her daughter back on Earth. The girl was 7 years old, happy, innocent. She had no idea what her mother had just helped do, what weapon her mother had helped fire. Volkov wondered what she would tell her daughter someday. Would she say she had helped build a weapon of mass destruction? That she had helped kill thousands? Or would she say she had helped save 32 people? That she had protected humanity from an aggressive alien species? Maybe both were true. Rodriguez visited Garcia in the medical bay. The young man was awake, staring at the ceiling. "You fired the weapon," Garcia said. It wasn't a question. "Yeah," Rodriguez admitted. "Good," Garcia said. "I hope it hurt them. I hope they felt what I felt." Rodriguez didn't know what to say to that, so he just sat with Garcia in silence. The Endeavor continued its journey home. Inside the ship, 32 people tried to process what had happened. Tried to understand what they had become. They had left Earth as explorers and diplomats. They were returning as warriors. None of them knew that their battle had been recorded. The alien ships had been transmitting data back to their homeworld. That data included sensor logs of the entire fight, including the railgun firing. 3 weeks later, the Endeavor approached Earth. The ship looked like it had been through war because it had. The hull was scarred and burned. Whole sections were sealed off, too damaged to repair in space. But the engines worked. And most importantly, 32 people were still alive inside. Sarah. Chen stood on the bridge and looked at the blue planet growing larger on the screen. Home. She had wondered if she would ever see it again. "Earth Control is hailing us," the communications officer said. "They want to know our status." "Tell them we're damaged but operational," Sarah replied. "Tell them we're coming home." But Earth already knew most of what had happened. The alien data had spread across the galaxy. Some of it had reached Earth 3 days ago. The whole planet knew about the railgun, about the battle, about first contact gone wrong. "Captain," Holbrook said quietly, "there are 50 ships waiting for us, military ships." Sarah saw them on the tactical display. Warships surrounding Earth, ready to protect it, ready to fight if more aliens came. "They're giving us an escort to the orbital station," Holbrook continued. "Full honors." Dr. Tanaka looked up from her station. "Captain, I'm picking up messages from Earth. Thousands of messages. They're calling us heroes." Sarah felt sick. Heroes. 15 people had died. She had destroyed an alien ship and killed everyone on it. That didn't feel heroic. It felt like failure, but she said nothing. The crew deserved to hear they were heroes, even if she didn't believe it. The Endeavour docked at the orbital station 6 hours later. Medical teams were waiting. The injured were taken off first. Garcia was carried on a stretcher, sedated. He would get new legs, artificial ones that worked almost like real legs, but it wouldn't be the same. Sarah was the last to leave the ship. As she stepped onto the station, she was met by Admiral Zhang, the head of Earth Fleet Command. He was an old man with gray hair and hard eyes. He had fought in the Mars colony incident 5 years ago. "Captain Chen," he said, saluting her. "Welcome home." Sarah returned the salute, but she felt like a fraud. "Admiral, I need to submit my report. I used a classified weapon without authorization. I'm prepared for court-martial." Admiral Zhang shook his head. "There will be no court-martial, Captain. You did exactly what that weapon was designed for. You defended humanity against an aggressive alien species." "I killed thousands," Sarah said quietly. "They killed 15 of our people first," Zhang replied. "You did your duty. Now come with me. The Colonial Council wants to meet you." Sarah had expected to be arrested or at least questioned. Instead, she was taken to a conference room where 12 of the most powerful people on Earth waited. The Colonial Council governed all human space exploration and colonization. They asked her to tell the story from the beginning. Sarah did, leaving nothing out. The peace messages, the alien laughter, the decision to use the railgun, everything. When she finished, the room was quiet for a long time. Finally, one council member spoke. "Captain Chen, do you regret firing the weapon?" Sarah thought about it carefully. "I regret that it was necessary. I regret that 15 people died. I regret that first contact ended in violence. But do I regret defending my crew and my ship? No." Another council member leaned forward. "What do you think this means for humanity's future in space?" "I don't know," Sarah admitted. "But I think the galaxy knows about us now. For better or worse, we've announced ourselves." The council dismissed her after 2 hours. Sarah was exhausted. She went to her assigned quarters on the station and slept for 16 hours straight. When she woke up, everything had changed again. While she slept, the first alien delegation had arrived at Earth. Not the Zatharak who had attacked her, but a different species. They came from something called the Confederation of Associated Worlds, a group of alien civilizations that had been exploring space for thousands of years. Their ambassador was named Teleth. She was a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms. She came in peace, making that very clear. Her ship didn't even have weapons. Sarah was asked to attend the meeting between Teleth and the Colonial Council. She didn't want to go, but Admiral Zhang insisted. "They want to meet you specifically," he said. "You're the human who fired the shot heard across the galaxy." In the council chamber, Sarah stood in her dress uniform, uncomfortable and tired. Ambassador Teleth studied her with large, kind eyes. "Captain Chen," Teleth said in perfect English, "learned from human broadcasts. I wanted to meet you personally. You have changed everything." "I don't understand," Sarah said. Teleth gestured with 2 of her 4 arms. "Humanity applied to join the Confederation 7 years ago. We denied your application. Do you know why?" "No," Sarah admitted. "Because we thought you were too young as a spacefaring species. Too emotional, too violent." Teleth's voice was gentle but firm. "We looked at your history. Your wars, your weapons. We decided you were not ready for the galactic community." Sarah felt anger rising. "So you ignored us?" "Yes," Teleth said simply. "But then we saw the recording of your battle. We saw what you did. And now you're afraid of us," Sarah said bitterly. "No," Teleth replied, surprising her. "Now we respect you." Sarah stared at her, confused. Teleth continued. "You fired a kinetic weapon. Do you understand how primitive that is? Most species abandoned kinetic weapons thousands of years ago. We moved to energy weapons, plasma cannons, particle beams. We thought we were advanced, and..." Sarah prompted. "And you showed us we were wrong," Teleth said. "You took something simple, something basic, and made it devastating. A rock thrown very, very fast, it worked. It worked better than our advanced weapons would have." Teleth walked closer to Sarah. "But more importantly, we saw why you fired. We reviewed the full sensor logs. The Zathrak attacked you without provocation. You tried to make peace first. You only fought when you had no choice. That is not the action of a violent species. That is the action of a strong species that prefers peace but can defend itself. One of the council members spoke up. So you want us to join the Confederation now? We are fast-tracking your application, Tilleth confirmed. Humanity has proven it belongs among the stars. But I must warn you, the galaxy is watching now. Everyone has seen your weapon. Some species are afraid. Others are curious. Many want to study how you built it. Are we in danger? Admiral Zhang asked. No more than before, Tilleth said. But you are no longer invisible. You are no longer a species that can be ignored or dismissed. You are players now in galactic politics. That brings both opportunity and risk. Sarah thought about this. What happened to the Zathrak? The species that attacked us? Tilleth's expression became grave. They have formally apologized to humanity. They are terrified you will retaliate. Their war leader who ordered the attack is dead, killed when you destroyed his ship. Their government is in chaos. They beg for peace. Do they deserve it? Sarah asked. That is for your people to decide, Tilleth said. But I will tell you this. The Zathrak are known for aggression. They have attacked other species before, but never again will they attack without thinking. You taught them a lesson that words could not teach. The meeting ended with an agreement. Humanity would join the Confederation. Earth would receive technology and knowledge. And in return, humans would share the railgun technology with trusted allies. As Sarah left the chamber, Admiral Zhang caught up with her. Captain, I have new orders for you, sir. Sarah asked. You're being promoted, and you're getting a new ship, the U.S. Retribution, Earth's first true warship, armed with 6 railguns. Sarah felt cold. You're building more of them? We're building a whole fleet, Zhang said. Project Ares, after what you did, we can't be defenseless. We need to be able to protect ourselves and our allies. I don't want to be a warrior, Sarah said quietly. You already are, Zhang replied. You became one the moment those aliens fired on your ship. Now you can either accept it and lead or step aside and let someone else lead. Your choice. Sarah thought about her crew, about Garcia and his missing legs, about the 15 dead, about the 32 who survived because she made a hard choice. I'll take the command, she said. But I want Holbrook as my XO, and I want Volkov in engineering. Done, Zhang said. 2 weeks later, Sarah stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution. It was a warship, no question about it, bigger than the Endeavor, with thick armor and powerful shields. And yes, 6 railguns, each one capable of the same devastating attack. Holbrook stood beside her. Strange, isn't it? We went to space to explore and make friends. Now we're building weapons. We can do both, Sarah said. We can explore and be ready to defend ourselves. That's what Tilleth meant. We're strong enough to have peace because we're strong enough to fight if we need to. The ship's communication system beeped. A message from Earth Control. Captain Chen, you have authorization to depart. Your mission is to patrol the outer colonies. Protect them. Show the flag. Let everyone know that humans are out here and we're staying. Understood, Sarah replied. She turned to her helmsman. Take us out. Best speed. The Retribution left Earth orbit, its engines glowing bright. As it accelerated away from the planet, Sarah looked back at the blue world she had fought to protect. She thought about the future. About all the species out there watching humanity now. Some with fear, some with respect, some with curiosity. Do you think they'll forgive us? Holbrook asked quietly.